Okay.
And then I made a couple different predictions regarding the pool. And was that there was going to be a monster in it, just like that puddle thing from the gates. He's going to see a fish, but something bad is going to happen when he tries to go get it.
Okay, so
So we'll talk about it.
but two of your predictions was hedging your bets. One that he would get a fish and the other he wouldn't get a fish. That's not fair.
Well, I'm guaranteed. Well, no, but they both. Okay, so for starters, they both have to happen if he sees a fish at all. So there has to be a fish involved, which, with my luck, there might not be. And two, I'm not guaranteed full points with this. So
Right.
I'm just guaranteed like a point if there's a fish.
If
If.
there's a fish. I don't know why every time I think about Gollum getting fish, I think about the little weird rhyme in Meaning of Life from Monty Python.
Which one?
Here we go, fishy, fishy, fish. Wherever he did go, I did go.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so spoiler alert, there are no songs in this chapter.
Yeah, there's no songs again.
I mean, there's kind of a song. Matter of fact, in the movie, they make it a song
Oh,
when
okay.
when Gollum is going fishy, 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 or fishish, fishish, fishish.
Okay.
In the movie, they make it sound like he's singing.
Okay.
But
I kind of imagine him kind of like doing a small little ditty there.
so,
Which, spoiler, there's fishes.
oops, spoiler alert.
But
They should have read it by now too, if they're following along.
I was making a joke.
It's been a long day. It's been a long week. It's already been a long year, and it's only the 5th of January.
I know.
So we're going to begin with Frodo waking up to see Faramir standing, bending over him. Kind of back
Like bad memories.
bad memories, like especially like his brother kind of being the same way.
Yeah. So he immediately like kind of like shrinks back a little bit like, dude, what's up?
Right. But it's interesting because he's like, hey, come with me. I want you to see something.
Yeah. And Frodo is still very suspicious, but he goes.
Yeah. And he gets to see, besides before he sees what Faramir actually brought him to look at, it's a beautiful sunset.
Yeah. And Sam also wakes up and follows them. And Sam's like, I don't have time to stop and appreciate this, but it is gorgeous right now.
Yeah. Right. Uh, and then this is another place where I got a little tickled reading this. So they're on a flat rock without a railing. I mean, it tells us
That there's no
there's no
railing.
railing. So you know what? Star Wars wasn't the first place they didn't put up a safety railing.
I knew that's exactly where you were going to go the second you brought it up. I knew it. But
And there, what's interesting, there's some description of the scenery, and again, it's one of those places where Tolkien really does some great writing.
yeah, I honestly, with the whole talk of the railings and just the entire scenery, I mean, not only did it sound gorgeous, but I legitimately got like a pit in my stomach because I have this fear of like falling off things. And I definitely felt that here. I'm just like, I would slip and die. I am not very coordinated.
No, you're not, Grace.
No. For those listening, my middle name is Grace, and it's the only Grace I have. Um,
You're welcome.
Thanks.
But there's also something else to see besides the beautiful scenery.
Yes.
There's a dark figure in the pool of water.
Yeah, that just dove in.
Yeah, dove in. And the way Tolkien describes how he dives in, it's like he goes into the pool like an arrow shot into it. No splash, no, just perfect jumping and diving into the pool.
10s across the board.
10s across the board.
And I also love how he describes it where it's not quite like a beast, but it's not quite like a man either.
Right.
It's like something in between.
And then there's the whole thing about, I didn't know they had big kingfishers like that around here.
Yeah.
Big black kingfishers.
Yeah.
It's like just being stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, because of where we are in the book and where they've been, it's pretty easy for us to figure out that it was Gollum.
Yeah.
Right away.
And even Frodo seeing it knows right away, but even the men talking about him, Sam is like, I know exactly what they're talking about right now.
Yeah.
I know who they're talking about. And when they ask if they should shoot him because because that's their rules, is if anything comes into these caves, which are kind of like a secret base for them, that they get shot. And Frodo's like, no, but Sam's like, maybe we should.
And this place has been a little secret base for them for hundreds of years.
Right.
And it's named after the window of the sunset.
Yeah.
It's been around for a long time. But yeah, Frodo asked not to Frodo asked not to shoot him. So he tells Faramir that this creature has also carried the same burden. That's the word Frodo uses.
Right, because there's guards around.
Yeah, the burden himself at one time.
And Faramir's like, this keeps getting weirder and weirder, yo.
Weirder and weirder and weirder.
Yeah. Like, he keeps using the word strange. Strange is the word that he's consistently using. And fair. Very fair.
But also, so it's Gollum who's fishing.
And they're talking about this pool and how precarious it is and how dangerous it is. And they're just shocked when he comes back up with fish.
Yeah.
They're absolutely shocked that he's not dead in this pool.
And there's one of the men under Faramir that we get a name, Anborn.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not, I wouldn't say he's important in this chapter, but he is a very strong secondary character.
Yeah, because he's the one that when they decide that they should go grab Gollum and Frodo should go do it, he's the one that leads Frodo. How crazy it is.
Gandalf really well.
Mm-hmm.
When it's brought up about killing Gollum, he says Gandalf would ask not to slay Gollum.
Yeah.
And so this goes back to that conversation
that they had.
Yeah, and just to remind you, some of the words that Gandalf uses, do not be too eager to deal out death and judgment.
Mm-hmm.
Even the very wise cannot see how it ends. My heart tells me that Gollum has some part to play yet.
Yeah. And we know for everything going on.
And when Frodo tells them that Gollum's been their guide, they're like, what?
Right. They're like, and Faramir gets very suspicious. He's like, guide to where? And
I can't tell you that, or I could tell you that, but then I have to kill you.
Yeah, and then, or you would kill me. But they start talking about that now, where they're talking about where they have been and where they're going, and Faramir gets very serious. He's like, dude, that's not a good idea. And when he starts naming the places, Even Gollum like hisses and starts muttering to himself. That's true.
So Frodo's to go down to the pool, and he says, "If anything, shoot me if I fail." And this is one of those places where you wonder if
He's got
Frodo.
any sense?
Well, no, Frodo is Frodo actually saying, "Shoot me," or just playing with words to show how serious he is.
Right. Yeah, true.
So Anborn brings Frodo down to the pool, as you said earlier,
Yeah.
and crawls out on the slippery rocks, much like Gollum was crawling around on him, on all fours, with his
Yeah.
hands leading him.
Because that's the only way to do it without, falling in and dying.
Right, but it's also a reminder that Gollum is a forerunner, for lack of a better
Hobbits,
of the
yeah.
hobbits. So, because he's called by Gandalf a hobbit-like creature.
Right. But Frodo is going to go fetch Gollum, and Gollum is happily eating his fishies while lamenting that his master has left him and betrayed him. And Frodo's like, "No, I am actually here. Hi. Let's go. I promise no one's going to hurt you." And Gollum is not believing him.
Yep, it's like dirty, nasty hobbits have their precious. This is even before they round him up.
Yeah.
He's complaining about those dirty, nasty hobbitses.
Yeah, and the men.
Well, he doesn't know about the men, not at this point.
Oh, I thought he did.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Things are blurring together.
And I love the wording that I love the wording that Tolkien uses here. That Gollum wants to throttle them all.
Yes.
And you can imagine him holding him with that one fish in his brown, pretending he's throttling them.
Yeah.
And Frodo does debate with himself, but he feels that Gollum has a claim on him.
Yes. I love the wording of it, where it's like the service of the servant has a hold on the master.
Right. And and there's also other parts about what does this really mean? Is it does it go deeper than that? Since he's my servant, I need to take care of him? Or is there some allusion to how the ring brings them together?
Well, I also took it to mean that he knows that Gollum is the only one that can bring him where he needs to go. And he has this hold over Frodo where this whole task needs to be completed. And so they need Gollum to be able to do so.
Right. And relationship with Precious.
Right. It definitely gets very interesting where is Frodo starting to understand Gollum more and know exactly what he needs to say to get Gollum to cooperate? Or is it also that Frodo is starting to feel those same kind of sentiments, and so he knows what Gollum is feeling, and that's how he knows what to tell him?
Right. And it's like, nice master coming back for poor Schmeagol. Interesting to me that it says good Schmeagol.
Mm-hmm.
Because does that mean there's a bad Schmeagol?
Well, there's bad Gollum.
There's bad Gollum, but say good, but the better half of him.
Right.
So when he says good Schmeagol will come, does he mean the bad side is still going to rebel against it?
Or is he saying that the Schmeagol side actually wants to be somewhat good, and so he's saying that a good Schmeagol would come, and Schmeagol's good, right?
Right, kind of. But we also then get another glimpse of his green light in his eyes. He calls Frodo wicked and tricksy.
Yes.
Wicked and tricksy. And of course, Sam is still spitting hate towards Gollum no matter what.
Right, of course. Sam just can't trust him as far as he can throw him, and he probably can't throw him far.
And then we get the scene of when Frodo and Smeagol is brought back to Faramir. Faramir is sitting on this chair like it's his throne, which...
Like, as soon as Frodo gets Gollum up there, they immediately start tying him up. And Frodo's like, ooh, that's gonna come back and haunt me.
Yes. But Faramir is seen as being wise and just.
Right. And he has the foresight that it should... I didn't pick it up. Frodo really needs him, so he's able to releases him.
Yeah, well, that's just like I have you always when we have
Release the hound.
Yeah, when we have Bones tethered,
who is in fact the one making the background noise, if you can hear that.
And Faramir is saying, "Don't ever come back here.
Yeah.
Don't ever tell anybody how to get here."
Mm-hmm.
And Faramir asks for a promise that can be guaranteed.
Yeah.
And he promises on the price.
That's the best promise you can get.
So Gollum is under a double protection.
Yeah.
Because he's under Frodo's protection, but Frodo is under Faramir's protection.
Yeah.
So I find that interesting for some reason that one of the most mistrustful characters in the book
is heavily trusted.
Heavily trusted.
Yeah.
And then no. It's so you can't say, "Oh, it's almost a year."
Oh, okay.
Like it keeps from a person from begging off of it.
Oh, okay.
That they say a year and a day means it's going to be at least
a year. Okay.
So I found that interesting. So / read what Faramir is actually saying. These are high bindings in words.
Mm-hmm.
He's really binding himself towards this,
which is kind of interesting.
Right. And Gollum is under the doom of death if he should ever return, or if it's found out that he's told anybody how to get there.
Right. And we know he can undergo torture pretty well.
Right. So Frodo explains where they're going, where Gollum's leading them. And was this information given out of fear or out of respect?
I would say a little of both.
So I want to get to a little spoilerly here.
Okay. How spoilery? Spoilery for me?
Spoilery for you, maybe a little bit spoilery for people if they're only reading a chapter at a time with us.
No, I don't want spoilers.
Okay. Well...
And I can't read your handwriting, so...
Yeah. So Faramir sees Gollum as full of malice and evil.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the words Tolkien actually writes.
Yes, yeah.
Men of Numenor who had fallen to the dark and the wickedness.
Right.
He talks about them being, quote unquote, living ghost, and tells of the 9 lords who are the 9 ringwraiths, the Nazgul.
Yeah.
So these former human men.
These former kings.
Now, I'm going to get to a little interesting sidebar here.
Okay.
Okay, so Token only ever names two of them.
Okay.
One, which is their leader, which is the Witch King of Ardmon, and we also have Kalmul, known as the Easternly, which is his second in command. Everybody else doesn't really have names. Even some of the games, if I remember right, I think Lord of the Rings Online even does this. Gives us not necessarily names, but what they are called. So we have the Witch King, which I already talked about, the Easternly, we have the Dark Marshal, the Betrayer, the Shadow Lord, the Undying, the Tainted. Then we get a King of Umber in there somehow. And then there's this word I cannot pronounce, but I'm going to try my best. Grimmercraw.
Okay.
All right. But, so it's interesting that, fandom, especially separately for some reason.
So it's not necessarily canon. Or did Christopher Tolkien, or anyone else sign off on it?
So one account.
Which makes it semi-canon.
One account that I was looking at, talked about the fact that these things have been named, and the estates didn't say, "Don't do that." The estate has given permission to the Lord of the Rings Online game to do what they do.
Okay.
But I thought it was interesting that, Tolkien didn't want to name them all for one reason or another. But then
Or did he just not have time? Or did no one ask him, so he never wrote it down? Because I don't believe for a second he doesn't know exactly who they are.
Well, that's true. I mean, but there's nothing in his writings or even in his notes.
Time travelers, please stop messing with 2020. This has been your public service announcement.
Well, thank you. Right, so getting back to, Faramir tells them, do not go towards their citadel.
Right.
It's like, it almost feels like that doesn't need to be a warning.
Yeah. It's like, dude, you're dumb.
Yeah, but
don't do it.
But it's like, don't touch that. It's hot. It might burn you.
Okay.
Ow! Yeah. And so Frodo really no real answer.
Yeah.
And we get, and the chapter kind of ends with, good luck, fare thee well.
Yeah. So that gets into my predictions.
Okay.
Or do you have something else? Well, let's talk about my predictions for a second. So first, my long-standing prediction that Faramir was going to try to get them to go with him. I'm going to say it actually doesn't count because what I was envisioning was something much stronger and insisting than what happened. So I'll even say I don't think it counts.
Okay.
As for the monster in the pool, Gollum's a monster. No, I'm kidding. I'm not even going to try to argue that one. So I get 1 point because Gollum does, in fact, get a nice fish. He gets two nice fish. He gets two nice fish.
I love the fact that also when they took
Got in his hand, it's like, oh, poor Gollum.
Right. And then at one point, Faramir says something, goes, no, that's not my fish, and throws it down. And then Tolkien lets us know that, okay, everything's okay, good. So you can go now. He makes sure he picks it back up.
Yeah. Because he hasn't been eating because he just eats fish. Raw fish.
Well, he doesn't like cooked food. Because remember, he wanted to eat the rabbits raw.
Right. The face you just made.
Fishy.
Oh, and what's really funny that we also forgot to mention about the guards. The guards are like, I didn't even know there were fish in that pool.
Yeah,
like they're just amazed that he got a fish. They're like, oh my God, he's not dead. And he has a fish. It's impressed.
Right. Well, you don't live as long as he does without knowing how to fish.
That's Very true. Teach a man to fish, eats for life. Teach Gollum to fish,
These for
lives
many
forever.
lifetimes. Yeah. All right. So, is there anything else we need to talk about here? Anything else to mention or bring up or?
No, I think that was everything.
Forgot to look up the name of the next chapter. Okay, so the next chapter is Journey to the Crossroads.
Journey to the Crossroads.
So, what are your predictions?
Oh my gosh. Journey to the Crossroads. Well, the only thing that I can think of is that's where Frodo, Sam, and Gollum separate from Faramir's group. Journey to the Crossroads. I mean, my first instinct wants to say Sam and Frodo would get separated, or Frodo, Sam, and Gollum would get separated, but I don't think any of them are going to get separated, honestly.
Okay.
Can I make that a long-standing prediction? I don't think any of them are going to get separated.
Between the three of them?
Between the three of them?
Okay.
Yeah, I want to make that a prediction. I honestly don't think they're going to get, like, they might separate for, like, a second, but, like, no more than, like, a few hours kind of thing.
Right.
Is what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so I don't think that they would, like, actually get separated. So I'll make that a long-standing prediction, but actual predictions for the Crossroads. In my head is just dial-up modem.
Well, I mean,
I think I'm gonna have no. I can't ask for hints because then it gets into spoiler territory. Okay, crossroads.
Well, crossroads have very, very many meanings.
Yeah, and the only thing I can think of is supernatural crossroads where you make a deal with a demon or you start playing the fiddle with Satan. Can I make that prediction? They have a fiddle battle with Satan? Okay, that's a no.
I'm not even answer that with words. Just the look.
Okay. I'm gonna predict that at the crossroads that they're gonna come across like a horde of something.
Okay.
Like a group of like monster men, minotaurs or something.
So it can't be a horde of squirrels escaping.
You know what I mean, like a horde of like monsters, which would be several giant squirrels, I guess. But like a horde of something, like cross their paths.
Okay.
Like not necessarily orcs, but like possibly like men who are on the side of Saruman or something like that.
Okay.
Okay. Gosh, now I need 2 more predictions. Oh, lordy. Can I predict they see a squirrel? Because I'm really struggling here.
No.
Okay. Because I don't think they would actually see a squirrel.
I don't know. Can I say they're going to see a rock?
Can I?
No.
Okay. So I think that it'll be a metaphorical crossroad. So I'm going to do the same thing I did with this last chapter where I'm going to hedge my bets. So my second prediction is it's going to be a metaphorical crossroads where they have to decide which way to go. Crossroads. Third prediction. Lordy Lord. I'm going to say, is it too easy to say that Sam and Gollum argue?
Okay.
I can say that Sam and Gollum are going to argue about something.
And it has to be an argument, not just a...
Not just a back and forth. It has to be like an argument.
Yeah, it's not like... it has to be something substantial. It can't be, I don't want you to do that. Yeah, but I'm going to do it. Okay, well, I'll follow you anyway, but I don't think you do it. That's not an argument.
Right. Okay. So an argument like our prediction arguments.
Sure.
Okay. That's all I got. That's
All right.
truly all I got.
So if you hung in with us until the very end, thank you.
Thanks.
We appreciate it.
Me too.
I don't know why we just got off track so much. I've been Robert,
And I've been Evelyn.
and you've been listening to Token About It.